Hey, yo, what's up, YouTube, man? It's your boy Ashton Jackson, and I am making this video after the Monday night game because the Dallas Cowboys are 4-2, and I do want to talk about some ways that we can improve this roster by means of trading draft capital, picking up guys off the market, whatever the case may be. So before we hop into the video, I would appreciate if you guys would like the video, subscribe if you're new, comment, and share my video with anyone who you think will enjoy my content, man. For me, I'm going to be talking in order of how the Dallas Cowboys need to improve this roster. Overlooking this roster and what we have overcame this season so far, it being middle of October, we still have a long road of stretch to go. But I really feel like this is where the Dallas Cowboys can pick up and string a lot of wins coming out of the bye. You got the Rams. After that, you get the Philadelphia Eagles in Philly. Then you got New York, um, Carolina, Washington. I think you got Seattle after Washington because that's a week after Thanksgiving. So I think the Dallas Cowboys have it in them to either win the next 6 or 7 games or only lose one. I really do think the Dallas Cowboys can go out there and can attack the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles haven't looked as dynamic as they have been. The Lions have looked better. The 49ers have looked better. The Eagles are still a good football team, but I still think that the Dallas Cowboys can hang up with them, and they are a team that's going to improve their roster. So the San Francisco 49ers, so the Detroit Lions, the Seattle Seahawks, the Kansas City Chiefs, any single team, the Buffalo Bills, all the teams I know that they are making the postseason for sure, they are going to make moves. And I think Dallas Cowboys need to go into that sweepstakes, and I do think they need to add to this team. We're not flawless. This is definitely a team that can get better. Just looking after the Monday night game, there are 2 key positions I feel like Dallas Cowboys can get better at. Of course, some other positions that I am going to throw out there are just depth pieces, and just to see that if the guys that we do bring in can be better than the starters or give the starters a run for their money, right? So basically, I don't want to leave any stone unturned. I want to make sure that we check every nook and cranny. I want to make sure that, we look for, to get better offensive line, whether that's interior, exterior, and on the tackle spot, tight end. I'm really looking at adding another tight end because I think with the Dallas Cowboys wanting to run a lot of 21 personnel, which are 2 tight ends and 1 running back, I believe that Dallas Cowboys want to incorporate 2 tight ends. We thought Hendershot was going to get that second nod. He couldn't get it done. Schoonmaker is just strictly there to help you in the running game. He hasn't evolved into that pass catching tight end that we want him to be. That's why I feel like we should have got Darnell Washington if you wanted that, because he could have contributed to both. What it could have, should have, didn't happen. You made your mistakes in this past draft that I'll talk about in the offseason. For sure, the number one move I think the Dallas Cowboys need to make is linebacker. Well, why I'm saying linebacker, I know Van Der Esch is going to be out for the next 4 to 6 weeks. We did bring in what's that kid's name? Rashaan Evans, grown man. He's not a kid no more. He's a grown man. Rashaan Evans, we brought him in after he was out on the street for a little bit. Damone Clark put a really great game today. Marquise Bell is really good out there in our big nickel package. I understand we do run a lot of big nickel packages, but I do think that we need to go out there and we need to add to the linebacker position, right? Now, at first I wanted to trade for Devin White. Now knowing that I didn't know what the Bucks were going to be, they're sitting at a 3-2 football record. They still are in key position to win that division because that division is horrible. Atlanta's been dropping games. New Orleans dropped a game yesterday to the Texans. Carolina they still are winless in the season, being 0-6. So the Bucks, they are not going to trade any of their top players. So, I was thinking about trading for Shaquille Barrett, Devin White. Those guys are out of the picture. So now it's time for me to move into the other phase of linebackers that I did bring. I did provide backup options in case some of the Bucks players weren't available. I want to possibly trade for Shaq Leonard. They don't call him Darius no more. He changed his name. He wanted to be called Shaq now. So his name is Shaq Leonard. He was a defensive rookie of the year in 2018. It was a debate between him and Van Der Esch. He has been on the injury-prone side lately, but they got EJ Speed. I forgot they have I think some I forgot the first name, but the last name is Franklin. They have a lot of different linebackers out there in Indianapolis. I understand they still want to compete because they still think that they can make the playoffs. It sucks for them because I love Anthony Richardson, pause, coming out of college and how he's been so far as a great human being, and especially the way he's been playing football. I would have loved for him to start, but he messed up his AC joint, and he's likely done for the season. That's what team owner Jim Irsay said. Um, they do have Gardner Minshew, who is solid, and they are running that Philadelphia scheme. As long as they stay healthy with Josh Downs, Michael Pittman, they're going to be good. But I will test the waters. I'll see what Shaquille Leonard is going for. If we can give, a next year's 5th round or 4th round pick for Shaquille Leonard, bring him in on a rental. I understand everyone's talking about his cap space money, but I don't care about cap space right now because we're here to win championships. And this is a move that if we can make and get Shaq Leonard on this football team, I think we can elevate our defense to another magnitude on that second level to where we can leave Shaq Leonard out there along with Marquise Bell and other things like that. Remember, CMC was injury prone as well out in Carolina. He goes to the 49ers. That man is hardly missing any games. I know he did mess up his oblique, had a rib injury. I don't know how long that timetable is. Hopefully it's short and he can play for the rest of the season. But he was a guy that was injury prone. Niners traded for him and got great return on their investment. Dallas Cowboys can do the same thing. If Shaq Leonard isn't getting a lot of burn, we get Shaq Leonard up in here. I think I would love for him to be on our defense, right? Two linebackers that are young and on expiring deals. Kenneth Murray was selected in the 2020 draft. That was CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, Burrow, Chase Young. He's coming up on an expiring deal. I know we just beat the Chargers. Let's go back to the Chargers and be like, hey, I know we beat you guys, but it's okay. You slide us Kenneth Murray. He was in talks of potentially getting drafted. He was a Dallas Cowboy top 25 visit or top 20 visit. But if you guys remember, leading up to that draft, we almost didn't get CeeDee Lamb depending on the health situation of Leighton Vander Esch because at that time it was being told to us by, I forgot what the insider was at that point, but basically that Leighton Vander Esch's neck was worse than what the Dallas Cowboys had perceived when they had drafted him, and his neck had gotten worse, and Dallas Cowboys were in play to draft a linebacker. We never drafted a linebacker in that draft. It took us in 2021 to draft that, but that was Micah Parsons, but we know who he is. But we never really addressed that linebacker spot. I know we got Jabril Cox. We drafted him also that year. The year after, we drafted 2 linebackers with Damone Clark, Devin Harper. So I understand we haven't really filled out that linebacker spot, but Kenneth Murray is a guy that Dallas Cowboys were interested in. Check up on him. Patrick Queen is another linebacker. Now, I know that the Ravens, they get that weird injury bug that I hate for them because they're such a talented football team, but they always get hit with that weird injury bug. So looking back at it now, when I first made the list, I wanted Patrick Queen on the football team. I still want us to go out there and go make a play for him. The Eagles, they were in play for him. But again, the Dallas Cowboys are looking short and thin at that linebacker position. Bring in a Shaq Leonard, Kenneth Murray, Patrick Queen. Those are guys that can maybe give Vander Esch a couple weeks rest. Also, when Vander Esch is ready to come back, we can ease him into playing and not saying here, be linebacker 1 as soon as coming off of that neck injury. That's why I'm looking at the linebacker spot. And if we can get generational play from that linebacker spot, I think that can lead our defense to another aspect that we haven't been to in a very long time. And then now you'll have playmakers at each spot of the defense. Now, like I did say, I love Stephon Gilmore, but there's a lot of times when he's getting cooked out there by guys who can really run routes. Brandon Ayuk got him. Keenan Allen gets him. Garrett Wilson got him on that touchdown. There's a couple different guys that can get Stephon Gilmore. I understand that Stephon Gilmore isn't 2019 Defensive Player of the Year Stephon Gilmore anymore. I know he did get a game-sealing interception, but guys, let's think about the future, right? And not only in terms of the future, but let's win now, right? Stephon Gilmore hasn't been that great, and since we're going to run a lot of man coverage, we need a lot of personnel to match that. And again, knock on wood, whatever, pray. We are one good injury away, whether you guys want to think about it or not. We're one good injury away to one of our 3 starters, to us going back to that we are suspect at corner, and especially cornerback 2, and you don't want to get to those times again, right? My potential list of getting cornerbacks are young guys on expiring deals who didn't pan out, that see that Dan Quinn can look at and say, hey, I like his athletic attributes. I liked him in previous drafts. Let's bring him in. He'll be great for our scheme. Patrick Surtain Jr. is on the top of my list. I've been hearing a lot of things of the Denver Broncos want to completely blow it up. Brandon Gregory got traded for a 7th-round pick, basically nothing to the San Francisco 49ers. They let go of Frank Clark. Um, they're talking about Jerry Judy's up for a trade. Colton Sutton's up for a trade. They're talking about they're possibly going to trade everybody except for Russell Wilson and Sean Payton. And the reason why they can't get off of Ross's contract because it's a large cap hits, and they really can't get rid of him until like the final year or last 2 years in his deal. So they're kind of stuck with Russell Wilson, right? So they're talking about blowing up this team and start from scratch. And at first, it was Patrick Tan wasn't in for a trade. Now he's back into the trade talks because now they're saying they're wanting to get rid of a bunch of guys. If I'm the Dallas Cowboys, I know we don't do this often. Dallas, give up future draft capital to go get Patrick Surtain. Patrick Surtain again was another top 20 visit when we had a top 10 pick in the 2021 draft because we sucked. Dak Prescott had went down with a broken leg in week 5. We sucked that year, right? We were in chance and in play to get Patrick Surtain. We were possibly going to draft him hadn't the Broncos selected him, right? Thank God we still got another generational guy and Michael Parsons. We could have made up for the cornerback position had we drafted Asante Samuel Jr., who got his first career pick on Dak Prescott, but he had a hell of a game today too. So if you're Dallas Cowboys, go out for Patrick Surtain. You loved him. If he's available for anything less than a first, get on it as quick as we can. Let's get Patrick Surtain. I know what people are saying about Patrick Surtain that we're gonna have to pay him. I don't care because if we get Patrick Surtain Jr. in this room, I'll have him starting, Deron Bland, have Stephon Gilmore in a slot, or if you want to have Bland playing inside, have Stephon on the outside, that's fine. Then now we get that Alabama replacement because we did lose Trayvon Diggs. Now we get Patrick Surtain. You add him to this defense. Now this defense goes back to being locked down. Now you go back to having a top secondary. And man, I would love to have Patrick Surtain if he is available. But the Dallas Cowboys have to call. You wouldn't know anybody who's available or not if you don't make a call. Remember, everybody in the league is touchable except for Micah, Bosa, Nick Bosa, Mahomes, Aaron Donald. Some of those guys, very few in that conversation that are untouchable. But who knows if somebody's like, hey, I'll give you 21st round picks for TJ Watt. Pretty sure the Steelers would be like, okay, cool, right? But, things of that don't really happen. But, people are always available in the NFL. But Jalen Johnson, this is more of an attainable type of cornerback situation. And the reason why I'm saying it's more attainable is because of the lengthy of corners that the Bears have. They got I forgot his name, Stevenson out of the U Miami, 6'3", 6'4" corner. They had another corner in Kyler Gordon who was dealing with injuries. He's going to end up coming back. So they have a lot of depth at that cornerback position. And I haven't heard a lot of Jalen Johnson because I don't really tune into Barry's game, but I haven't been seeing Jalen Johnson has been getting baptized or been getting toasted out there. If you're the Dallas Cowboys, I'll give up a 3rd round, 2nd round pick to go get Jalen Johnson. Again, another guy who can be good for you in zone, man coverage, a good young athletic corner. Let's make that happen. Patrick Peterson, I know he is a little long in the tooth, and I will be talking, kind of out of both sides of my neck, talking about an older corner. But I think Patrick Surtain had a really great season out in Minnesota. I know he's not doing that well in Pittsburgh, but I'm pretty sure Mike Tomlin won't be mad getting rid of him, especially since they do have Joey Porter Jr., who's sitting on the bench right now. Anthony Brown, if you want to do another deal with the Niners and give up a late round pick, a 7th round pick in next year's draft to go get Anthony Brown back on this football team, pull the trigger. CJ Henderson, I already talked about before in an earlier video. He's young. Traits, bring him in. Defensive end, I want to bring in Frank Clark. I know he's a bit of an outspoken character, but again, I would love to get him on this team. He'll bring that young fire, not young, but that fiery competitive advantage that we haven't had in a long time. That defense, he will make noise and he will call out anybody who's not doing their job. Quarterback, it doesn't matter. He will call out anybody who needs to be called out, and he will elevate his play along everybody else and his teammates. He did that in Kansas City. He's a fiery, chippy defensive player, and we need attitude on this defense and add to the attitude of our defense. I would love to have Frank Clark. So that's why Micah Parsons can play a lot more linebacker because the Lion had said that he feels a lot fresher when he's playing off the ball instead of having to deal with the trench work the entire time. So go get another pass rusher like that. Any young defensive end that didn't pan out or is on expiring deals, get him inside. Yannick Ngakoue, again, going back to that bear as well. They're tanking. They're not playing that well football. Justin Fields did dislocate his throwing thumb. So look in the well, and he's only signed to a year deal for $11 million. Again, bring him in, stout against the run, can go get after the passer, can free up Micah Parsons. That's my ideal, is to think, hey, free up Micah Parsons, so that's why he can be that generational defensive player that he is, right? Running back, very cheap, very low tread on their legs. Get a young running back, get somebody in the system that can help us win. I don't really have any running backs on top of my head. I know Kareem Hunt was available. The Leonard Fournette is looking to get a visit with the Bengals. So you got to be keeping out for that situation. Wide receiver. Again, like I was saying, how Michael Gallup, he's cool and all, but I'll be looking to either move him this trade deadline or either ask him to take less role and for him to take a step back. Either you elevate Jalen Tolbert to the third wide receiver spot or what. Again, this is another spot to where you're good in depth wise, but you don't want it. Very top heavy in this position. You don't want to lose a particular wide receiver in this room, and then now you're looking at it with Cooks, Gallup, Tolbert, Brooks, all the other receivers that we do have. Go back in that wide receiver well. Cedric Wilson, he hasn't been getting a lot of burn in Miami. I understand he does make a couple plays for them when they're running a lot of 5-out special teams, but bring him back in. He has that rapport with Dak Prescott. We can do some trick plays with him. You guys already know what he did with the Dallas Cowboys. Dak is the reason why he has another contract in the NFL and why he got that big of a contract from Miami. Looks like Allen Robinson for the Steelers. I know they got Deontay Johnson coming back. They got George Pickens. You throw Allen Robinson in the mix, but they got Calvin Austin. They have a lot of different receivers out there, and they can they can go to your local community college if they really wanted to. And if your local community college type wide receiver has a lot of good traits that the Steelers like, they can make him into a solid wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 if they really needed to, right? So go hit up the Steelers and say, hey, I'll give you guys a 6th round pick in 2025 to go get Allen Robinson, make that move. Terrence Marshall, Laviska Shenault, both Panther players. Terrence Marshall's a 6'5" type of receiver. Go get it type of receiver, kind of like Michael Gallup, younger on expiring deal. Again, you got him. The Panthers select him in the 2020 draft. Again, that's when a lot of people are drafting a lot of LSU guys because of that run. Terrence Marshall, 6'5", has all the length and attributes. Use him. Laviska Shenault is that Debo type of guy, and I think that he could be good for us because I think how we utilize Kevontae Turpin, we can utilize Laviska Shenault. Special teams, bring him in. We can hand the ball off to him, throw screen passes. He can break a couple of tackles and do his thing, and I think this is a guy that we can utilize in our offense. And our last but not least type of veteran wide receiver who can come in and spit game to Jalen Tolbert or whoever needs to get out of whoever is in a rough patch, Michael Gallup, whatever. Jarvis Landry, I know, he wasn't that great with the New Orleans Saints last year. He was solid with the Browns, solid with the Dolphins. Hit his line and see if he can bring him in, and he can be like your T.Y. Hilton, but just for this year, but you won't be bringing him in December. So that's about it for the video. Again, the Dallas Cowboys needs are linebacker, corner, defensive end, running back, wide receiver, offensive line, anybody whoever's young and on expiring deals. And of course, I don't want the Dallas Cowboys to leave this trade deadline without leaving any stone unturned. Check every nook and cranny. Always try to improve this roster because we're trying to play deep into January/February. That's about it for the video. Hope you guys have a nice day. Stay safe, stay blessed. Bye.